Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome. Episode number 7. Can you hear me now? Of the Cold Calling Podcast. I'm your host, Larry Long Jr., CEO of LLJR Enterprises. That's Chief Energy Officer. And I just want to give a big props to Monster Connect. Please remember that the Cold Calling Podcast is it's fueled by our friends over at Monster Connect. Thank you so much. Just a quick reminder, Monster Connect, they leverage technology and human resources to deliver actual conversations. For all my sales professionals out there, we're tired of getting those voicemails. We want to speak to live decision makers, 8 to 12 per hour. That's what Monster Connect provides. So I'm honored to welcome today's guest. And I got to keep it real with y'all. I got to pull out the platinum mic for this one. This gentleman is a lifesaver. Our original guest, Wendy Harris, let's keep her in our thoughts. Let's keep her in our prayers. She had a medical emergency pop up. So it just shows the importance of being flexible, which will be a theme that we get to with today's guest. We're rolling with the punches. We're going with the flow, I think they call it. All the way from Gillingham, not to be confused with Gillingham. He told me, do not call it Gillingham. Ooh, off with his neck. England, which is east of London. This gentleman is all things Train the Sales Trainer and has built an absolutely amazing brand. Sales coaching, sales training programs, learning design, group facilitation. He's got a book. And I even think I saw somewhere that he has his own football association. Without further ado, please give a warm Cold Calling Podcast round of applause to Mr. Chris James.
Hey, thank you, fans. I'm here from Gillingham. Gillingham, nice to meet you all.
So great to see you, Chris. Thank you so much for filling in, subbing in at the last minute from across the pond in Gillingham, England. We are so honored to have you on the show. Now, to kick us off, I'm going to give you the mic, and I'm going to give you the gold mic, solid gold. We have a segment called Who, What, and Why. Who are you? What do you do? And most importantly, why do you do it? The mic is all yours, Chris. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's Chris. I'm a teacher, not a preacher, not an electrician, or a fighter, or a rider, or a politician. I'm the man with the keys to your ignition. I just can't find no competition. I've been here, I've been there, I've been everywhere. My name's Chris James, so put your hands in the air. Come on, shake them like you just don't care. That's me.
Wow, that is the most awesomest intro that we've had on this show. The man with the master plan. I love it.
Listen, to know a bit about me, I started out many years ago as a breakdance teacher and found out I really love teaching. Yeah, all that kind of things, you know. I can't do it anymore. It sort of disappears nowadays. But my old man was in the Navy. And he used to travel around the world. He used to tell me these great stories about, going to China and Russia and all these great places that the Navy went to. Well, not so much Russia. But what it did is it gave me this real kind of desire to travel. So at the age of like 20, 21, that's what I want to do. I wanted to travel the world. But I didn't want to get shot at. I mean, no one wants that, do they? I mean, what's the point in traveling if you can get shot at? Yeah, I want a beach. I want somewhere nice. So I went and worked in casinos for years and years and came back, became a PE teacher. Found I didn't like other people's kids. I mean, who does? Who likes other people's kids? Let's be honest. So I came out of that, started to do door-to-door sales training. This national sales trainer left, it was in 2010. And I've been in sales training and one-way consultancy for 12, 13 years now.
Wow.
So that's a
Wow.
brief synopsis of a dodgy life.
That sounds like an amazing life. And I mentioned it before because you already spilled the tea. Number one, you've got to be one of the most interesting men in the world. Now, let me ask you this. Why do you do what you do? I mean, you've got choices. You could travel the world, not getting shot at. But why is it that you do what you do, Chris?
Uh, well, let's see what I do first. What I do is I'm a sales training consultant, but in many different guises. I sit at the back of sales trainers when they do training, and I take notes about how they train, and I improve them how to be sales trainers. So that's one of the things I do. Another thing I do is I run courses on how to be a better sales trainer. Another thing I do is I go around and I do training sessions. For example, I was at Meta HQ in London, and I did a course for them on exceptional customer services. So I'm not stuck in one groove. I also run onboarding classes for companies. About a couple of weeks ago, I ran a 2-week onboarding class. I also, a friend of mine at Closers is trying to get more people into sales. So he's going to all the universities and doing 100,000 free places to do our sales fundamentals course. So I do lots of different things. Why do I do it? I'm just passionate about people. I don't think you can be a sales trainer and fall into it. You have to have a passion for people. You really have, especially with SDRs and AEs. You know, it's day one, okay? It's day one, and they're there. They've been to Walmart with their $50. They've got a brand new suit. They got a new skinny tie and shiny shoes, and they come in, they go, I'm here for the first day of onboarding. And then a month later, they're in the scruffiest jeans, the dodgiest hoodie, you know, and they come in like they own the place. And it's kind of bringing that person out from that day one to when they first realize themselves in sales, when they make their first sale, when they hit their first target, when they smash their target, when they start realizing they want a career, they want to move to AE. And when they're at AE, you know, how we can develop their mentoring skills, how they can help others, we can lead them to leadership and beyond. I just have a passion for people and taking them on that line where they can become the best they can be.
Wow. Wow. I can feel that passion. And Chris, I can relate. We see eye to eye. I got to clear my eyes, but we see eye to eye there. So
we've made eye to eye contact.
So you already spilled the tea about your breakdancing, but I've got another spill the tea up my sleeve. So I did a little bit of research, and I see that you've got a sports background, sports science at the University of Greenwich. I won't call it Greenwich, but how in the world do you go from sports? And for me, my sport was baseball. I think y'all call it rounders. But how do you go from sport to becoming the sales trainer, guru, and extraordinaire?
It's a simple step because it's all about performance and attitude. So when you're teaching elite sports people, and I've been really lucky to teach some of the best, and I've managed with some of the best, and when you're in that level, you realize when you go into sales that actually it's all about, you know, decision making, problem solving. You know, we say it's all about priorities of a first touch in football. You know, in sales, there are similar things. You know, it's all about priorities of conversations you have. You know, how we lead people down, you know, pain funnels and things like that. To me, it was all about attitudinal to start. Now, I was a trained trainer for the FA. So what I did, I trained all the coaches and their level 1 and 2 to become better football coaches. So it was a kind of easy step to take all that how adults learn, all this coaching formula about how we coach effectively, how we break down lessons, how we chunk lessons into the sales arena, especially when you're writing something like onboarding, all the accelerated learning, all the clever things that make people learn quicker, the assessment for learning, how we do it fun. I could bring all those from teaching and football into sales.
Wow. So you were able to make the transition, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think from the pitch over to the sales arena.
Yeah. And I found it a lot easier in the sales arena. See, I'll tell you why. When you play football, you start playing football from the age of 5. And most of your skills are motor skills already learned. When you come into a sales floor at the age of 22, most people have never sold.
That's right.
Most people have never had a long conversation on the phone. You know, it's all been kid stuff or with their mum and dad. So it's a quick learning curve there that you've got to have to be successful. And of course, you're only given X amount of time.
That's right. Time is of the essence. Now, you had mentioned before about sales onboarding, SDR onboarding, and we all know it's so important coming out of the gates with that training. I'm curious, from your perspective, what types of lessons should make up, what pieces should make up that SDR onboarding course?
Well, what you've got to think about is future basing. Future basing is the ability to look in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time when that person first goes on the call. Yep. So every manager's different, every leader's different, and every business is different. They'll all have different expectations. So the first thing we have to do is understand the business. So I think when we look at it, you know, the SDR's journey has completely changed. They're now researchers, explorers. They self-educate themselves, and it's having a significant impact on how we do sales training. Because what you get is you get people who are a little bit of Josh Braun, a little bit of Justin Michael, a little bit of Becky Holland, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, dun, 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 dun. And of course, none of them actually are themselves. They're all bits of other people. So for me, the first thing I do when I do an onboarding course is I future base. What do you want? And then the first morning is all about bonding. And what I do is I play lots of bonding games. And what I want to do in that first 2 hours is find out their personality in action. Who was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers?
Vince Lombardi.
That's his quote. Personality in action. It's all about mental strength. So when I get people in, that's what I want them to do. I want to get to know them, because let's say you've got 8 on your course. Let's say you've got 20. 2 of them might be similar. 3 of them might come from a sports background. 2 of them might be a bit arty. Whatever it is, you've got different personalities in action. But what we tend to do is we tend to have this focus on, hey, Pete was the best sales trainer for us. Let's all do it Pete's way. But Pete's nothing like Susan and John. So what we're doing is force feeding them rough vegetation when we could be giving them grass. So what I do is I kind of talk to people, get to know them, play games with them, talk to them about their preferences in life, talk to them about, believe it or not, relationships with people, how they talk to people. And I kind of divide, I write scripts for them in line with their personality. And I do it really through 3, okay? I do what we call a soft script. And a soft script would be something like the ones that people say, you shouldn't say anymore. You know, you shouldn't say, hey, my name's Chris, I'm calling from, how are you today? And some say you should say, how have you been? You know, it doesn't matter. It's your personality in action, isn't it?
That's right.
So, sorry, I've just got to change something over here because it's all falling down. So the second one I do is direct. Yeah. So some people don't want the fluff, do they? I don't want to say, how are you? How have you been? I just want to get straight to the knuckle. So, you know, opening line, a welcome curve. You know, then you do a request for help, a third-party pitch. Then maybe a reason for the call, and then close. So, hey, Hey, Larry, this is Chris. We've never spoken before, and I know you weren't expecting my call. Just hoping you can help me for a brief moment. Well, that suits other people. And then, of course, we get the people who are a bit more experienced and they come in. And I teach them, I don't know if you've heard of Justin Michael. Justin Michael has a power opening. So it goes power, root, ruin, multiply, close. And it's basically getting straight into needs discovery. So it'd be, hey, is that Larry Long? Now, he says Larry Long because people like to hear the whole name. So it'd be, hey, is that Larry Long Jr.? And you'd say, yeah. Hey, are you in charge of the cold calling podcast? Yeah, I am. You're pretty proud of that. How's that working out for you?
2 thumbs up.
So now, and how are you doing at the moment? What's working? What's not working? So now you're straight into needs discovery. So that's the one of the things I like to teach them those ways. But let's carry on then. So what we need to do is we need to teach them opening lines.
Okay.
Then we need to teach them how to develop the script. Why opening lines? Tone, tonality, pitch, pace, pause, power. Then we need to teach them things like how to progress through the script. You know, the reason for the call and things like that. But if you look at the perfect kind of salesperson, we need for them on the first day of the phones to be able to deep dive into the ideal customer personas, profiles. Yeah, that's what we want. They need to scale relevance. They need to know the person, the company, and they know how to do LinkedIn search. So that's without doubt. We know that. So that's one of the lessons. Now, we also need to be able for them to contact people on LinkedIn. We need them to have better and easier conversations. So we need to teach them how to write content on email, on LinkedIn. We also need a script based on their personality. We need a cutting edge methodology, for example, spiced. But whatever methodology we teach them, it's got to be able to link with things like MEDDIC or BANT, whatever our qualification tool is. We need to teach them how to actively listen, how to ask questions, how to turn implied needs to explicit needs. Yep. We need to teach them how to ask open-ended and two-sided questions. Now, two-sided questions are questions like walk me through, where we actually, that they and the person at the other end learn at the same time. We also need to teach them things, objection handling. And, you know, we don't just teach them objection handling, we've got to teach them the mindset of the customer before the objection happens. So what is the mindset? Then we need to teach them a way of doing it, and then the most common. So also we've got to be able to teach them about the competition, about how we differentiate our value. You know, we've got to be able to teach them trap setting. You know, we've got to teach them closing. There's so much you've got to do. And what do? We stick them on an LMS and say, off you go, son. How many companies out there listening to that use an LMS for their induction training? Well, you should be in trouble, son. You shouldn't be doing it.
Chris, that was so robust. I was trying to take notes, trying to keep up with you in terms of your 3 scripts, the power opening, the opening lines, the script, the tone, the tonality, the pauses, the paces. That's a whole lot going on. What are the critical, if you had to pick 2 to 3 critical things that an SDR needs to be successful before they can pick up that banana phone? And you talked about Becca Holland. I stole this from Becca Holland. I was on a bus with her for the Flip the Script tour. Her, Keenan, and old Guillaume from Lemless. This is her phone. I'll get it back to her next time I go to France. But what are the critical few things that an SDR needs before they can actually pick up this 500-pound phone?
I'm trying to look for, hang on.
Is it gonna start breakdancing for us?
Hello, is that Larry Long Jr.?
It is.
Hey mate, how you doing? Why have you got a banana when you could have a phone, mate?
I don't know what's going on.
Listen, the first thing they need is a positive mental attitude.
Wow.
And we have to instill and make sure before they go on the phones, they're 100% confident before they actually pick up. Also, hang on, that ear's hurting now. Also, what we've got to do is give them the right leads to be successful.
Okay.
There's no point calling dead leads. So many companies give their SDRs dead leads and they pick up the phone. No answer. Sorry. Pick up the phone. Wrong answer. And they have all these things and we set them up to fail. And that drives me nuts. So first thing, positive mental attitude. Don't set them up for failure. And also keep them as a team. So in the first day, you should have built teams amongst teams. Those should have been bonded so well that if anything goes wrong, they can talk to each other. They can be friends for life. Now, if you've got that before you start and none of them are afraid to ask their friends questions, you've got a positive mental attitude and you've set them up to pass, they will do well.
Wow. Wow. Hey, Chris, there's a reason why I like you, man. Already, you've talked about teamwork, the power of the team, bonding the team, and how the teamwork makes the dream work. You also shared earlier that it's not one size fits all. Sometimes in sports, and I've seen it with baseball, where the coach says you have to have your elbow up and the bat at this. No, that doesn't fit my style. But it sounds like you really take the time to get to know the individual. That is absolutely awesome. I'm going to take a quick pause, Chris, and just tell our audience, hey, for those that are tuning in, those that are watching on YouTube, those that are watching on the Monster Connect LinkedIn, if you have any questions, which I know you do, go into the chat. This is your chance to ask Chris any questions that you have, because I know I got a ton of questions, but what's on your mind as we're talking about how to train the sales trainer, the keys to success for SDRs, BDRs, those professionals that are filling the funnel. Please feel free to pepper Chris with any of your hottest questions that are on your mind. Now, Chris, I got a question for you, because we talked about how to onboard, how to get an SDR up and running. I'm curious, now that we got them onboarded, from your perspective, how do we progress them? What does it look like as we get them through in their first 6 months and try to prepare them for that next step?
But let me take you to another world. I'm going to take you to the world of sport. Motor learning skill. It was championed by Fitz and Potson around about 67. And it describes the stages of learning we're at. So the first one is the cognitive stage. So from day 1 to 2 months, they're at the cognitive stage of learning. Okay, so they're trying to work out what to do. They're thinking about the task. They're slow, they're awkward. You almost hear the brain going tick tock, as they're on the phone, tick tock. And they quite often do inappropriate things and say stupid things. But that's the beginning. We were all like that.
Yeah.
So for that, it should be 60% for the first 2 months should be training and 40% on the phones. Boy, that's a big call, isn't it? Now, that is mainly because they don't have the ability necessarily in the first month, 6 weeks, or the opportunity to get through to X amount of people. So we need to keep the training. Now, for me, when I'm full-time at a company, I do Mental Monday.
Okay.
Mental Monday or Marketing Monday. Take it every 2 weeks. So Mental Monday would be dealing with call reluctance, a growth mindset, dealing with stress, all those mental skills that we need them to develop, not just as a salesperson, but as a real person, as a human being.
Right.
So on Tuesday, I do call listening and one-to-one coaching. I use the GROW formula. I don't know if you've heard the GROW formula.
No.
GROW is a way where you ask questions that the sales SDR has to come up with the answers themselves. And then if you don't agree with the answers, you tell them do reality. So G is for goals. What's the goal of this meeting? And they'll say, oh, the goal is that I want to sell more next month, for example. And you'll say, well, the goal of this meeting is that we'll have an honest chat. We leave nothing off the table. And that, you know, by the end of it, we'll come to a conclusion about what's the best way forward for us. Then reality is, you know, oh yeah, I've been doing really well. Or, oh my God, they keep making me do this and they keep making me do that. And I have to mentor my SDR. I can't handle it anymore. And the reality is, of course, well, you're on target at the moment. And then the next thing is options. You know, I don't know what to do. Or, well, have you thought of, I can help you. Your sales leader can help you. There's also objection handling. You could look at Josh Braun's objection handling. And then the last one is will. You know, setting goals. What's their will like? Are they going to do it? So that's the second day, is I do all my one-to-ones, and it goes into Wednesday as well. Wednesday, I do cell soup. So cell soup is, depending where they are in their development, I'll do advanced objection handling. I'll do push and pull closing. I'll do asking TED questions. I'll up the questions and I'll ask them to, I might do pain funnels and things like that. And I'll just do it more advanced than on their onboarding class. And then on Thursday, I'd get them to do Tech Thursday. So I'd get someone from pre-sales or a solutions architect to run the program. And then Friday, they would do a call listening. One from a good one from an AE and good one from an SDR. So what we're getting is a rounded structure of training. So that's what we call the cognitive stage. So you shouldn't ask me questions. I can talk and talk, mate.
It's good stuff. I'm taking notes. You got every day of the week outlined here.
So next we go to the associate stage. Now the associate stage is about 3 to 5 months. You know, they know what to do, but they need to practice. You know, they're not quite there yet. They need to think about it. They're a bit uncoordinated. Sometimes the conversations go round and round and round because they don't know actually which direction to take it. Yeah. And there we're looking at the 70-20-10 model. 70% time is on calls, 20% with a mentor, and 10% would be coming to my lesson on a Monday and a Wednesday, and maybe, you know, that kind of thing. But it would be optional. And the last one, of course, is the autonomous stage. We wouldn't know that, but that's where the skills learned and automatic, where they're very comfortable in what they do, what they say, and it's all mainly done on one-to-one grow culture. So that's how you would progress people. So,
wow.
Did that answer your question?
No, that's really good. And I appreciate you sharing the growth formula. I appreciate you breaking out the cognitive, the associate, the autonomous stage. Here goes a question that I have. If I'm sitting out there and I'm listening, I'm a BDR, I'm an SDR. I want to hear from you, Chris, because you've seen it all. Here goes the example. My leader, my quote unquote manager, isn't providing me with resources. They're not setting me up for success. What do I do? I'm hungry. In the words of the great Les Brown, I'm hungry to have success. I'm in this job and I want to have success hitting my goals as an SDR. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to progress my career. What do I do?
It's one of the hardest questions. I used to work in a casino in London, the Golden Horseshoe. And the Golden Horseshoe, I was a dealer in those days, you know, cards and blackjack, roulette. And I found out someone was paying better, paying better, better hours, nicer club, less people coming in, bigger gamblers. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm going to go and work there. So what I did is I looked at the jobs and I left. Now, that's not the answer. That's just one answer. Personally, I would confront my manager and say, you know, I've heard that this Larry Long Jr. is really, really good. Do you think we could get him to come in and do a couple of lessons? I would go to the manager and say, I need help. Yeah. Now, the thing is, as managers, 99% of managers out there know they're not doing enough. And they won't get proper training in because they don't trust it, because a lot of it's generic. I mean, I watched one the other day. I was sitting at the back, like I do, and he taught feel, felt, found. I'm like, feel, felt, found? You've got to upgrade your material, mate. But that's what generic training is, because they can't go and teach modern sales training because it's all copyrighted. So that's one of the hard things. Someone like me, I just go and teach anything. You know, I teach Josh Braun's objection now, and I teach this, I touch that, I touch, because, you know, I don't sell it as it is. But what would I do? I would personally, if I wasn't getting any help and I went to him, then I would ask people like me, people who are on LinkedIn, who are the best people to follow, and invest in myself. You can invest in loads of different people. You can invest, you can get objection handling cards. You can get all this to develop yourself. Yeah. But the answer should never really, this is what I said earlier on. Do you remember I said about the new SDRs different now? They're all researchers and self-educators. Yeah. You've got to get the right educators, because so many people say so many things in LinkedIn that are so different and not necessarily true. And you're learning off someone who's a failed SDR in their own right, telling you how to do it in their way. So it's a difficult question. I think you have to go to the manager, go to HR and say, these are my needs.
And I appreciate you sharing that for our SDRs, BDRs out there.
But it should be in their one-to-one.
Okay.
So I was with a company once. This is not true. And they flew me from America to Cleveland, right? That's not to learn from them. So there I was through the corridors of power, you know, through the break rooms, and hi, everybody, hi. And I went into this one-to-one, and she had this piece of paper. She had to fill in this piece of paper. And she said, hey, Larry, how's your week been? Oh, yeah, my week's been good. Yeah. How many calls did you make? Oh, I made 23. What do you think you need to improve? Oh, maybe I should make 30 calls. I don't know, be less shy. Okay. So your plan for next week is to make 30 calls and be more confident. Okay. And I went all the way from England to America for that. And when I came home, when I came back to the office in London, I said, right, are you going to do that now? Computer says no. So part of your one-to-one, make sure the one-to-ones are good, effective. Don't go out feeling like you've not been supported. Make sure the person giving you your one-to-one is giving you options. They're listening to you, they understand you, and they're sending you a way where you can get the most help.
That's so critical right there. And I'm a big believer that it starts at the top. Now, you've seen a ton of trainers.
Tons of them.
And you mentioned that most trainers, most leaders know that they need to be doing more. From your observation, from what you've seen, and I got to put on my blue blocker glasses, where are the biggest gaps within sales training by the sales trainers that you see? You sit in the back of the room and you observe them. Where are we missing the boat? Where are we striking out, Chris? I want to hear.
Man, I've got some dodgy sunglasses and I can't find them.
Right. It's okay. I got them over here. I think you sent them to me.
Man,
I got them.
Flamingos. Mate, I will see you on Gay Pride next year. Right. Do you know what there's loads of different things I see. I'll talk you through two. The main problem I see is sales people being moved over to sales training, sales enablement, and they've never been taught how people learn. They've never been taught how to write the 4-part lesson. They've never been taught how to actually stand up and present to people. They've not been taught how to make things fun. But most important, they haven't been taught how people learn quickly, accelerated learning. So that's one. The other one, which I see all the time wrong, and it's called role play. Role play. You should see people. It's hilarious. So role play on an onboarding school. Okay. Right. This is how you do it. Now, off in pairs, practice. You go around, listen to them, and then they come back. How was that? Yeah, that was really good. Okay, next subject. So role play. Firstly, are you demonstrating it well enough? Are you actually demonstrating it, or is it on a PowerPoint? Your opening line. My opening line is, hi, my name's Chris. I'm calling from Trainer Sales Trainer. How are you today? Now, do you get up and say that, for example? So then you go to them and they all get up in turn and have a go. Now go out. So this is a bad example. It could be questioning skills. They go out and practice.
Okay.
Now, do you set them an agenda? I want you to take one of you to take a piece of paper and say, was the tone good? Was the pacing good? Did they use sentence fillers? Was there a criteria to the role play? So then you come back and then the role play should be listen, observe to it, diagnose problems, intervene if there's a problem, instruct, demonstrate what you want, let them show you what they want and see if it goes live. That's a coaching formula. And that's what you should apply to role play. So when people are role playing, you need to go in and coach it yourself. So let's say you get two people, you listen to them. Are they doing as you asked? Is it well paced? Are they using sentences? Blah, blah, blah. It's good. You don't have to say anything. Now, let's say we go into something like, walk me through the process when something goes wrong for you. They ask that question. The other person starts answering them. Then we're into a more of a role play. Did they answer the correct? You listen to them. Now, the first bit they answered was great. Do we jump in straight away or do we hear the whole call? If we hear the whole call, do they forget the first bit? Now, it's very difficult. Now, I believe that before you do role play or before you analyze a call, you should tell them criteria. Today, I'm going to listen. We're going to listen to this part of the call or this part of the role play. So I get people have never been taught the coaching formula. And it's such a simple, in football, it's stop, demo, rehearsal, live. Stop what they're doing, show them how to do it, demo it, get them to rehearse it, and then listen to it live. People don't know things like this, which is very frustrating when you sit at the back of the and role play should be with someone who's better than you, who's got experience, not someone at the same level as you. Often we get on sales.
Chris, I'm putting my listening ears on. I need you to rewind back. So you said in sports, in football and sports, stop, demo, rehearse, and listen live. What was that criteria that you had mentioned for sales training? I think you had said listen, observe. What was that?
So, about 4 or 5 years ago, I wrote the sales coaching formula. So the sales coaching formula is basically listen, observe. Don't try and observe every aspect of the call. At junior level, you should be maybe listening to one phase of the call. At senior level, you should be listening to the conversation bit of the call, the needs discovery. Do they find pain? Do they, find what's the spin? Implement the pain. No, it's not implement pain. Do they identify the pain and do they bring the pain forward? Secondly, diagnose. Understand the detail of the call. You've got to step back, define what success and failure looks like. Are they asking two-sided questions? Did they discover explicit needs? Are they adapting quickly and effectively in the conversation? Are they responding to the needs? I think then we intervene.
Yeah.
We say, listen, do you know how you could have improved this? Get them to give you the answers. Then, see, I think I've got a quote from Avish Ratner. Best coaches never tell sales consultants they're wrong. They rather focus on creating awareness. So you never tell a sales consultant they're wrong. You ask them the questions so they become aware of what they're doing things wrong.
Wow.
So that's intervene. Next, instruct. Give a clear demonstration of what you want and the key points. This is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to do it. And that's instruct. Guided discovery could be one way of doing that. The next is instruct is tell them, then demonstrate. Then let them rehearse it. Let them show you that they know. Remember, it's not what the sales trainer says or does. It's what the SDR says and does that's important. We're also busy listening to ourselves. It's really important that we hear the SDR. So I'll say that again. It's not what the sales trainer says and does that's important. It's what the SDR says and does. So after that, we listen live when they're on the phones to make sure they're doing as we talk. All right, I've stopped.
Wow. I love it. Now we're coming towards the end of our chat, and there's a couple more questions that I got, but I do have to get you to spill the tea. You're wearing a charity soccer kit, I think they call it. What is that? What are you sporting and why?
It's part. Many years ago, I used to be a punk rocker, a breakdancing punk rocker. Yeah, I could show the pictures, but I look so young now. So I got into, and I used to be really heavily into rap music. So I really got into, we used to go to the WAG Club in Wardour Street, and I was really into that kind of. I saw Public Enemy back in '88. I saw a lot of those people really, but so I'm very much into that kind of. What would I say? A united London. Yeah. So Joe Strummer is the organisation is to help young black people get the same opportunities to book music venues, recording studios, so they get exactly the same opportunities as everyone else does in the UK. And by buying this shirt, £10 goes towards that charity.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's not football.
Go! I love to hear that. And Chris, I said it before and I'll say it again. You've got to be the most interesting man in the world. Now, you walked us through SDRs, training the trainers, what you do. I'm curious, what are the critical keys that an SDR, BDR needs in order to be ready to progress? What are some of those skills that they need to bump it up to that next level? Because if I'm an SDR, I'm hungry. I'm salivating to be an AE. How do I put myself in a position to be ready?
That's a very good question. Consistency, consistent approach, a passionate approach. I always think you've got to be you've got to be someone that people look up to, a role model. But I think that I remember many years ago, I went to a one-day shout upon with Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street guy. And he said, if you give me the first 6 weeks, just 6 weeks, that's all I want of your life, I'll change it forever. And I have to think, we have to say to my new SDRs and onboarding, just give me 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks. If you just give me these first 2 weeks, I'll give you the best start you could ever have. Now, what I've got them now into a mindset that, hey, actually, I give Chris 2 weeks, and this has worked because I'm quite successful on the phones. I'm all right. I hit the ground running from day one. Yep. So I've built a trust. So now I say to them, listen, if you can be consistent with your metrics, if you can improve your performance, if you can learn off each day, if you can look at, there's 2 types of salespeople, right? There's a person who gets up in the morning and he says, Oh, it's raining. Oh God, okay. I don't want to go to work. I want to work from home. You know, they could go on holiday. Do you know what I mean? They go to Spain. The English people go to Spain. The first thing they look for is a copy of an English newspaper and a cup of tea and an English breakfast. You know, there's these sort of people. And there's the other type of salesperson who gets up in the morning and he looks in the mirror and he says, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. Yesterday, this went wrong. That's never going to happen again because I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm going to learn and I'm going to get better. Now, who can I ask to help me with that? Oh, this guy over here, I know he's doing really well. I'll ask him. So don't be scared to ask. Use all your opportunities and use them well.
Ooh, I love that growth and that action mindset. Now I do a midday motivational minute, and today's topic, I talked about the power of presence, of being there. And you're here. You are here. You are present and engaged. What are some things that you think sales professionals, SDRs, BDRs, trainers should be thinking about right now to prepare themselves for whatever might be on the horizon? No one knows what's going to happen in the future, but what are some things that you recommend folks should be doing right now to be ready for whatever it is that's around that next corner?
Let's look at two things. I think the first thing, visualization. Where will they be in a year or 6 months? Or what is it going to be more important? What's it going to be like at the end of the call when you've had success? Doesn't have to be a 6 months. What's it going to be like at the end of the call? How am I going to feel? And how am I going to get to that feeling? Now, we have a lot of rejection in sales, so I'm told. So one of the things I would tell people is have a ritual. Now, you would never see a sportsman not warming up.
Right.
But I often see salespeople grab a cup of tea, stick it down, stick the headphones on. Hi, this is Chris calling from Train to Sales Trainer. How are you today? Have a ritual. Have two rituals, okay? Have a 10 to 20 second ritual. Stretch. You know, have a picture on your desk of something you love or motivates you. I see so many sterile desks. Have a picture of your loved ones, a holiday, your dog, your cat, your boyfriend, whatever makes you smile. That's a ritual. Stretch, yawn, and then start. Now, my favorite one is if I'm not doing too well, is to sneak out, and go for a walk. Just get out, get some fresh air. I used to work in Canary Wharf for a while, and it's a 5-minute walk to Marks and Spencer's and back. So I used to walk to Marks and Spencer's, buy a pork pie, and then come back. And then I got just put on too much weight. So make sure you do the right walk, okay?
Got to mix in a salad.
Yeah, mix in a salad, exactly. But get out, get a walk, put some headphones on, get out, get away from distractions.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Chris, I can't thank you enough. Our viewers and our listeners want to know, where can they find you? How can they connect with you and get more of your gems, more of this wisdom that you've been so kind to share with us?
Well, I have my website, which is trainthesalestrainer.com.
Okay.
But if you find the links around here, connect with me on LinkedIn. I often write strange and obtrusive posts that no one reads. I don't quite get LinkedIn. One day I get 13,000 people reading my post and I get 23.
You used to work in the casino. You know it's a crapshoot.
It is a crapshoot. You're right.
I think they call it the algorithm, but I don't think we're allowed to say that name out loud. It wasn't me.
But actually, I'm on a course at the moment. I'm on a LinkedIn course, an invite only. They're obviously telling me my content needs to be better.
I hear you. I think we can all get better. But folks, you heard it straight from CJ, Chris James. You can find him at trainthesalestrainer.com. connect with him on LinkedIn, interact, engage with his content. Let him know what you like. Let him know what your perspectives and your thoughts are. And please let him know thank you for filling in today on the Cold Calling Podcast. I remind you to please come back next Wednesday, September the 13th. Thank goodness it's not Friday, but Wednesday the 13th. We're going to be back again. Same bat place, same bat time, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time for our next guest. And my hope, my prayer is that we're able to get Wendy Harris back, the queen of conversation, the founder of Making Conversations Count, to come back and join us on the Cold Calling Podcast. Hey, Chris, any last parting shots before we wrap up today?
Just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Oh, I love it. And it sounds like you've been enjoying the ride ever since the days of breakdancing on the cruise ship, in the casinos. Chris, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All the best and continued success. We look forward to seeing you on the flip side. Cheers for now.
Cheers, Larry. Cheers, mate.
Oh,
Cheers, guys.
good.